Hello, so we're getting ready to go over Module 3, Part 8 of the scene setup. So we have our little table with a ball in the ground. The ground's like a darker color, the table's yellow. There's the ball. And if I hit play right now, we'll see the ball. Missed it dropping. Okay, so I'll drop a little bit. And it'll roll off the table. And you can just see it rolls off forever. Okay?
Oh, yeah.
So what we're going to do now is add some buckets. So to do that, we're going to do create entity, and entity, and we're going to name that buckets. I can spell it right. Okay. And within buckets, we're going to create another entity, and we're going to name it red bucket, and create another entity, name it blue bucket. So let's go ahead and put these blue and the red buckets into the entity of bucket. So I'm just dragging it so it's nested. So I have my buckets and I have a blue bucket and a red bucket underneath buckets. Okay. So now we're going to create our boxes. And the way we do that is similar as we did the table here. We are going to use the entity of a box, as you saw me pick, and we are going to resize it. So, yeah, okay. And so we're going to transform, and we're going to leave the X as 1. We're going to change the Y to 0.1, and we're going to turn off the uniform. So put this back to 1 and 1. And now we have this little, it's like a part of, it's a starting of a box that we're going to build. Okay. So let's go ahead and move this so it's more underneath our table. So I want to do it this way so I can see an aerial view. And it's going to be something like that. Okay, so I got one piece right there. And what I'm going to do is go ahead and nest this under my blue bucket. And I am going to add material, since it's called a blue bucket, I want to choose a blue color. And the reason that the blue is not the same shade as this is because of the lighting source. Just as an FYI. So we're going to duplicate this by clicking on this box and clicking on this copy or duplicate. And it's going to create a box 2. You can't see it because it's right on top of each other, but can't remember which dimensions we play with. I think it's the x-axis. For the rotate, we change that to 90. And you can see our second box, box 2, is now, you can see it more. So this is always a tricky part for me, getting into line up where I want or 2. It's never perfect, but for the point of this, it's fine. So we're going to duplicate it again. And just need to move that over. And we're going to duplicate it again. But this time we need to get to the sides. So what happens if I do? Okay. So make the y-axis minus 90. And then I duplicate it again. turn it around so I can see what I'm doing. Now, this is admittedly probably one of the most frustrating parts about this, the alignment. So it's don't get dismayed if you get frustrated. I still get frustrated with it. And then we see our box. It's got edges sticking out, but it serves its purpose. And then we are going to click on box again. It's got the bottom box, and we are going to duplicate it again. We're going to drag it up a little bit so we can see it if we're looking down. It's box 6. Okay. We can see it. Okay. And we are going to give it a collider component. And it's going to be a trigger. Let's go ahead and name this trigger box. Okay. So you can see the outline there. I'm going to move it down a little bit. Okay. So we have one box. It's a poorly put together box. But it's good enough. Okay, that's better. Okay, I'm happier with that. Okay, so and what you'll see is whenever even whenever I click on blue bucket using the entity, I can move all the pieces to it. Okay, so it's still fairly underneath the table, so I'm happy with that. And so now we're going to go ahead and close that one, and we're going to do the same thing with the red bucket. So create entity box, and I'm gonna hover over. Do what I just did. There we go. I'm gonna go ahead and move this under red bucket. And let's go ahead and change the dimensions of it. And transform. We want this one to be 0.01. Move it up so it's above the ground. Okay, that was good. And let's go ahead and give it a color of red. So we are going to duplicate it, and we are going to do the same thing as we did for the blue one. So I want to pause this, but I want to do the exact same process as I did for the blue one. Okay, so I have a red bucket now, and then there's the blue bucket that we had. And you'll notice that since we have both this blue bucket and the red bucket nested under buckets, when we click on the entity bucket, we can move them both at the same time. Okay. So now we're going to go to building the walls. As you remember, when we had the ball keeps on going. Okay, it doesn't stop. So we want to build some walls so the ball will stop. So we're going to do that by stopping. And then create entity. We're going to use a disk. No, that's not what we're using. Using the 2D shape of a rectangle. Okay. So we can see our rectangle. And let's see. So it's already got one side of a wall. Let's go ahead and I believe that's what he used. Make sure.
That's the last collapse my buckets apparently. Notice that now we have this large objective. So actually, that's almost to zero. And next, we'll work on walls. And I'll explain why this. First, it's created an entity. This is going to house or nest all the wall codes. Wall entities. I'm just going to add an entity to wall.
No, he used entity. So not a rectangle. Create entity. What do you do after that?
Created the animation quad. Drag that quad into the walls.
Quad. So we need to. So the entity that he created, he named walls. And we're going to put the quad in with the walls. Okay. So we have our quad nested in our walls. So we got quad. Let's go ahead and select quad. Let's do the transform. What was the dimensions he used?
Start with the left wall. Left. So values for 2 so translation 1.5 y 7 1 doesn't make sense. So y.
Uh, so we're going to name this left wall. And the dimensions is going to be 10, 7, and leave that at 1. Clean this up a little bit. And let's go ahead and duplicate that. And name it front wall. So for the front wall, I'm going to turn it not that way. That's the back one. How do you do this?
Notice as I'm on this side of the wall, I can see it. This side of the wall, I cannot see it. So that way, you'll always be able to see into it. That's the way quads work. That's a very good reason why we want that, why that exists. It's because there are many instances and occasions for Alright, so we have our left wall. We do add collider component. And notice there's the box collider.
Let's go ahead and do that. Get rid of the front wall. Let's go ahead and add the collider.
Around this wall. Box collider extends a little bit too far beyond it, so we're going to change that to point 2. The half extent value, the C half extent value.
What do you do?
Great. Now, we want to duplicate the left wall. We're going to make it right. Transform. The only thing we really want to do is just to remove the minus from the C. So we want it to be just on the opposite side. However, we want to rotate it around the y-axis by 180 degrees because remember, I can't see into my room, but I can't see out, which is not what I want. So I can rotate it by 180 degrees. Perfect.
Use that as point 1. And for this right here, he started with the right wall instead of the front wall. And he transformed this first on the Z.
How's it going? I'll spell it.
So I got the normal selected. And then he did the 180. Right? Yeah, okay. So it's, you can see through. We don't want to see through it. We want it to be like this.
now it's to the right wall. Called the front. It has dimensions. Translation values, transform values. Change it to 7, 1, 5, 0. And negative 90 degrees that way. 7, 1, 6, 7, 1.
Here we go.
Hey, sir. Have a great day. You as well. Still back. Got my toe slipping. Okay.
So it's good enough. It's kind of sloppy, but for this purpose, it's good enough. So let's go ahead and name this front wall. There's my front wall.
Attention please, all passengers on the platform at 552 San Diego. Please take gate C3, gate C Charlie for final order.
How did my friend walk over there? Okay. Okay, I have 4 walls here. So let me zoom in. So I'm going to zoom in. So remember, these quads you can only see from one side. On the other side, they're transparent, and we have the side that you can see on the inside. So once I get zoomed in here anymore, I look around, you can see that there's walls on every side. The reason some are dark and some are white is just because of the position of the light source. Okay, so there's walls on every side. So what we need to do we have the colliders? Looks like. Let me see what happens now. I'm not sure if it's going to stop at the wall, but there's like all of that gap. So let's see what happens now. Okay, it stopped at the wall. So we did get on that. It's not the prettiest, but it gets the job's done. Okay, so that's it on this particular video. Yeah, it's not the prettiest. His is much better, much prettier. But if you also look, I think he's looking at dimensions that he's already kind of prefigured. So yeah, the better you get, the more you do, the better you'll get. And let's see, someone go ahead and pause this and stop it.